Okay. Any questions for Benjamin?
So you talked about the benefits of piezoelectric material, and something that really interested me was a part where you said that it preserves the environment in its natural state, and at the same time you said the wind and solar technologies don't. From my understanding, they also don't have, they're also not pollutants. And you mentioned now piezoelectricity has this whole lead dynamic. So how do you come to the conclusion that it then preserves the environment in its natural state?
I think the basic thing is that it's usually put in the existing infrastructures. For instance, maybe the shoe. For instance, the example is for the shoe. The basic thing that to put in under the soil, piezoelectric generator and inbuilt storage system. The other thing is that maybe talking of roads. If during the construction of the road, I just we put a piezoelectric layer under the road, then it can be plowed back. But if you compare that with solar energy or wind energy, it requires installation. I mean, if I'm going to install a wind power here, I think it affects the environment. If someone comes to the campus, you can see there's a wind power here, and also there's a solar power. You can also see very well there's a solar power here, but the difference is that piezoelectricity, it's just put within the existing infrastructure, such that my shoe, it doesn't change the way my shoe is. But the other thing is that about leaving the environment in its natural state, it's not a very big concept as it's such. Yeah, I think the biggest difference between piezoelectricity and wind and solar power is that you find that wind and solar power are independent of the weather. I mean, if there's no wind, it's not going to generate wind power. The same solar power. For countries which get sun, maybe a very short duration is not a viable solution for them. But for piezoelectricity, it doesn't depend on any of those.
Does the electricity get generated just from the pressure, or is it if there's fluctuating or changing pressure? Where does the electricity, like if I constantly depress something, is that going to create a current, or is it the fact that I press and release? Or
yeah, it's changed. Actually, the electricity produced it's AC. So that means that when I exert pressure, it's one direction, and I move it's the opposite direction. Yeah, it's and the process continues.
My question will be based on temperature. You made a remark saying weather does not affect piezoelectricity. So I was thinking for the materials you use, right? Won't temperature also affect how they function and all that stuff?
I don't know the specific temperatures, but the temperature is very high. It's more than 100. I don't remember the specific one. It's called the Courier temperature and the Courier pressure. So you just have to make sure that it doesn't exceed that pressure. Otherwise, the material is going to be damaged. Of which, in the current system or in a normal situation, in a normal condition, it's very hard for it to exceed. John?
And would you have to change the structural integrity of the things that you put the piezoelectric materials into? For example, the shoe. On your table, you had some payback periods, and it was in terms of years. Now, most people won't wear the same shoe for a couple of years because it will be worn out. So, say it's the rural children wearing your shoe. If they are playing soccer all the time to generate that electricity, after a few months, that shoe is over. So, yeah. Is there any evidence that the payback period is a few months, so that by the time the shoe is over, they've been able to pay back what you went into making the shoe?
Actually, the table is mainly based on large-scale production of electricity using the piezo materials. And it's actually based on rods and some other large-scale production. Actually, the shoe concept, I haven't seen it somewhere. It's just my idea. And the best thing, the highest cost I can see is just the design and coming up with the device itself. But once you come up with it, it's just reproduction of it, which is actually going to be very easy. And yeah, I don't think that the payback time is going to be. I don't think the payback time is going to be as much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ben. Great job.